Hello everyone, this is Chris Christensen from the ThoughtSumo blog. Today I'll be showing you how to get started with Linux without installing Linux on your computer. We'll be doing this by using a free program from Oracle called VirtualBox. VirtualBox allows you to create virtual machines, which are computers that run inside of your computer. The first thing we're going to do is download the Linux operating system that we'll be installing today. This will take the longest, so I want to get started on this right away. Go to www.ubuntu.com. That's www.ubuntu.com. Click on Desktop in the navigation bar at the top. Now click on the Download Ubuntu button. Next we have two choices. The first is Ubuntu 14.04.4 LTS, and the second is Ubuntu 15.10. The first choice is the long-term support release that is currently available. With LTS you get 5 years of security and maintenance updates, while 15.10 has 9 months of security and maintenance updates. I always like playing with the newest, shiniest stuff, but the viewers of this video are most likely new to the Linux landscape. So I'm going to choose the LTS version. Click on the download button for LTS. You can donate to the Ubuntu Foundation if you want, or just click on Not Now, Take Me to My Download. As you can see, the download is just under 1 gigabyte, so it may take a while to download. While we wait for it, let's install VirtualBox. The first thing we need to do is download VirtualBox. Go to www.virtualbox.org. Click on the big blue button in the middle that says Download VirtualBox 5.0. Next, you want to click on the link for your operating system. If you're using Windows like I am, then click on the link that says x86/AMD64 next to VirtualBox 5.0.16 for Windows host. Save the download to your computer. The download should be fairly quick. Open the downloaded file and click Run. Click Next until you get to the Options page. If you leave these buttons checked, you will have a shortcut on the desktop and Quick Launch bar, and it will register all file associations. This means that any files having to do with virtualization will be registered to VirtualBox. I'm going to uncheck the box for Create a Shortcut in the Quick Launch bar because I don't want a link there. Now click Next. The warning page is important because the install will reset your network interfaces. Not a big deal unless you have any downloads running in the background or you happen to be streaming. Now click Install. Give it a minute or two to install. Uncheck the box for Start Oracle VM VirtualBox 5.0.16 after installation and click the Finish button. The reason we are not starting the program immediately is because we need to install the VirtualBox 5.0.16 Oracle VM VirtualBox extension pack. To do this, we need to go back to the download page that we got VirtualBox from and click on the link that says All Supported Platforms next to VirtualBox 5.0.16 Oracle VM VirtualBox extension pack. Save the download. This is a very small download and should be ready to go. Open the download, which will then open VirtualBox. Click the Install button to install the extension pack. The extension pack is much like VMware Tools. You get enhanced video support and better overall use of your virtual machines. You will need to scroll to the bottom of the user agreement in order to be able to click on the I agree button. They act like we don't read these things word for word. You should receive a message that the extension pack is installed correctly. Go ahead and click OK. We are now ready to set up our first virtual machine. Click on New. The first box is asking for a name for the virtual machine, the type of operating system we'll be using, and the version. I'm going to name my virtual machine Ubuntu 1. The type is Linux, and the version is Ubuntu 64-bit. Click Next. On the next screen, we will set up how much of our computer's memory we want to allow the virtual machine to use. The recommended size is 768 megabytes. This might seem low if you're coming from the Windows world, but Linux is far more efficient than Windows. We're going to leave it at 768 megabytes. You can always change this later. Click Next. On the next screen, we will set up the hard disk for the virtual machine. This is the storage for the virtual machine. 8 gigabytes is the recommended size, which is too low in my opinion. First, make sure the Create a Virtual Hard Disk Now radio button is chosen and then click Next. A box will pop up asking for the type of hard disk. We have no plans to use another virtualization platform, so we will leave it at the default, which is VDI. Click Next. The next page is asking if we want a dynamically allocated or fixed size hard disk. This shows just how flexible a virtual machine can be. Despite the fact that I plan to use an 80 gigabyte hard drive for this virtual machine, I can do so without having to reserve the 80 gigabyte of hard disk up front. It is kind of like a home equity line of credit. Your credit line might be $80,000, but you don't have to take all the money at once. We will be choosing dynamically allocated. Now I'm going to set the disk size to 80 gigabytes. Click Create. All of our boxes close and our virtual machine is almost ready to start. We need to make a few configuration changes. Click the Settings button. Click on Display on the left-hand side. Drag the bar for video memory all the way to the right. Click on the checkbox for Enable 3D Acceleration. Now click on Storage on the left-hand side. Click where it says Empty under Controller:IDE. Click on the disk icon just to the right of the optical drive drop-down. Click on Choose Virtual Optical Disk File. Remember that operating system that we downloaded in the beginning? We need to locate and choose that file, which should be named Ubuntu-14.04.4-desktop-amd64.iso. Now click OK to close and save the settings. Now the fun part. Double-click on your virtual machine. Ubuntu Desktop is a live operating system, meaning that you can run it without installing. This is great if you want to try it on a physical computer without having to install it. Definitely try this first if you're serious about installing Ubuntu onto your computer. We are now at the welcome screen where you can set your language and you're presented with two buttons, Try Ubuntu or Install Ubuntu. We are doing this on a harmless virtual machine, so we choose Install Ubuntu. Ubuntu checks to make sure that we have enough disk space, we are plugged into power, and connected to the internet. Check both the download updates while installing and install third-party software checkboxes. This way we have all of our updates at install time and any drivers needed to run hardware. Then click Continue. The next screen checks to see if there are any other operating systems running, and there is not, so it will erase disk and install Ubuntu. We're going to skip encryption for this tutorial, but we are going to check the box that says Use LVM with the new Ubuntu installation. LVM stands for Logical Volume Manager, and probably won't mean much to you now, but is very handy if you want to upgrade your hard drive space later on. Click Install now. The pop-up asks if we want to continue with the changes, and we do. So click Continue. Choose your time zone and then click Continue. Next, choose your keyboard layout. The default is fine if you're in the US. You can also use the Detect Keyboard Layout if you're not sure. Click Continue. The last thing we need to do before the installation starts is create the user account. Type in your name, which will auto-populate the computer name and username fields. You can change both of these to your liking. Set a password and make sure the radio button Require My Password to Log In is set. Click Continue. The install will now begin. This might be a good time to grab a drink or warm up that coffee. Pause the video until the installation is completed. Once the installation is completed, you'll receive a message that says, Installation is complete. You need to restart the computer in order to use the new installation. Click on Restart Now. If you were using a physical computer, the CD tray would pop out and you would remove the CD, or you would take your USB drive out of the computer. In our case, we are using a virtual CD drive with an ISO file loaded. VirtualBox will automatically unload the ISO for us, so we don't have to worry about the message. Just hit Enter. We are now at the login screen for the new installation. Enter your password. That completes this tutorial on how to run Linux without installing it on your computer. Make sure you visit the ThoughtSumo blog for more tutorials, and definitely subscribe to our channel for the latest updates. On Twitter and or Facebook, check me out at twitter.com/Christensen143 and facebook.com/ThoughtSumo. Have a great one.